Good morning everybody, welcome to this video. This is a video blog just to show everybody how the scanner actually works. I know there's been a few people that wanted to know how a multi-frequency body analyzer works. So I have my glamorous assistant here, Chris Warrington, who's one of the personal trainers with us, and together we're going to demonstrate how this actually works. So these body analyzers effectively work on putting an electric current, a bit like a mobile phone frequency through your body, and because they send it through your hands and they send it through your feet, it can actually work out exactly what the composition of your body is, from the water makeup, from the actual calcium, the bone mass inside your body, and also ultimately your fat mass. So that's why we use them in the weight loss clinic, so that we can actually get into a position of where we can recommend a particular type of diet with the right amount of calories, so that your BMR is maintained and you'll have the maximum effect. So first of all, what we actually do is we go and quite accurately take a height measure. So if you can just put your heels towards the back for me there, Chris, and if you put your head straight back, keep your eyes level, and we'll take that. Okay, so we then have an accurate height measurement. Okay, if you can step off there for me. And these are relatively straightforward. They're just like your bathroom scales, but a little bit more complex. What we actually do is we put in an amount of weight for the clothing. Normally it's around about 0.3 of a kilogram. We have to work in metric on these things because of medical grade scanners. We put in an ID so that we can store the data for a future date, or to do an analysis across a period of time. And then we put in the gender, in your case female, and then we put in an age, which if you whisper it to me, Chris, I'm sure she's lying, but I'll take her word for it. And then we actually put in the height measurement, which is 163.5 centimetres. Okay. And then the scales initialised, so if you can just step onto the foot pads, which are just outside the video, on there. Once the weight actually settles, what we can then get is a measurement of the weight, and then if you take hold of the grips and just lift them straight up and out and hold them just by your side. It's only important to hold them in a particular way if you're actually naked. Because you will cut the resistance, but if you've got clothing on, as Chris has here, as long as we've made an allowance for that clothing, you can almost hold the probes however you want. So they go through all the measurements. It takes about 20 seconds to complete all the measurements going, and then effectively you can put them back. And then that's actually finished. So you can step off the scale there, and then we'll just wait for the printout to come out. So we now have our printout, and the printout actually shows a lot of different things. Obviously, it shows the information that you actually have put in on the scanner, so your age, your height, the allowance that you've made for clothing, etc. And then from that, it actually calculates a very good, accurate BMI and also BMR. Now, the BMR is actually very important. In Chris's case here, she has a very healthy BMI of 23.5, which actually gives her a metabolic age of 33, which is much younger than her actual age. Sorry, Chris. Now, she also has a very low visceral fat rating of 5, so that means that you're suffering from very little internal fat. Also, she has an average bone mass, so what is actually worked out is the accurate lean tissue. This gives Chris a BMR rating of 1,331 calories, which is much lower than what you'd expect. You know, a lot of people think that when you take the GDA into account, that a woman can actually quite easily eat 2,000 calories without actually putting any weight on. Well, if Chris, being an active person every day, she probably can. But if you had a BMR of 1,331 calories, then effectively, if you're reasonably active, you'll only be adding 200 to maybe 300 calories a day, so that's 1,600 calories. If you're staying to 2,000 calories per day, you're actually putting on 400 calories that you're going to store as fat and other tissue in the body. So this is where it's important that once you know an accurate BMR, and even though BMR can be calculated by just a height and a weight, a weight measurement, and also waist measurement, it can't accurately be determined, because you have to know accurately the amount of lean tissue in the body. Once you know an accurate lean tissue number, you can actually use that for predicting the amount of weight that somebody will lose. So Chris being 1331, if she did something like sole source, or if she did something even like step 2 at 810 calories, she'd be losing about just on 500 calories per day without doing any physical activity whatsoever. If you added a normal amount of activity, maybe 300 calories for doing 6,000 to 8,000 steps per day, she would actually be losing about 800 calories per day. That really would mean on step 2, Chris would be losing around about 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds per month maximum. So that just gives you a range of what it is. Approximately you need to lose around about 3,000 calories for every pound of fat you're going to burn off. So for every pound of fat you need to burn about 3,000 calories. That doesn't work out absolutely accurately for everybody, because people do burn a proportion of lean tissue to fat. What we try and do, and one of the reasons that we scan on a regular basis, is to actually make sure that that ratio isn't past about 70-30, because you don't want to be turning too much muscle into actual sugar in the body to use. You want to actually be burning more fat than sugar, so more fat than muscle. So the idea is to try and get a nice balance. The other thing that it shows on here is the amount of intracellular and extracellular water. This is important in something like the Cambridge products because they need a lot of water to activate themselves, so it's important that you stay hydrated. And one of the things that this will show quite accurately is that the water levels are good, and that the fact that your body is becoming hydrated properly. It also will show the distribution of the muscle and the distribution of the fats, and actually give you a leg muscle score, which shows the actual fitness of the muscles themselves based upon how much fluid the muscles are actually containing, and that tells you how exercised they are. So not just having muscle tissue, but actually having good muscle tissue, which is carrying a lot of fluid in there, a lot of blood, etc., which shows how healthy they are. I'm happy to say that your scan is really good. It's actually improved on last time that we did it. And thank you very much for participating in this video.
Thank you very much.